What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to be doing a tier list predicting how I think the NA teams will be doing in the upcoming RLCS season. None of the rosters are essentially set yet. Well, I mean some of them are, but it's all just speculation on teams. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how we're feeling so far. But I also added a free agent list over here, which I mean some of these guys have teams already, but most of them, for the most part, are open for slots. But Claverity is the first team we got on the list. I'm automatically gonna put them in D. I have zero hate to T. Carroll and J. Powell, but without Oath, I mean honestly, like no offense to T. Carroll, he used to be a phenomenal player, but I mean recently just tourney results and everything, it just has not looked great for him. Kind of fell off, not gonna lie. Still like the dude, still crazy at the game, just not good enough. J. Powell has a lot of potential, but I don't know. I think he needs a different team. I mean, that's exactly what Oath did. Oath is now off the team looking for different options, which I think is the best option. Next, Complexity. Complexity is interesting. Definitely a super high skill ceiling for Complexity with Raisable and CRR. I think if they get Dorito or I think Dorito and Mist are their two top options. I think either of them would be good. Mist obviously is a big if because of his last season, his hours problem and all that. But I think they definitely have a high skill ceiling. I'm gonna put them in S just because I feel like that's just a team that's always gonna be making the majors. I don't I don't see them doing any worse than top five. No matter who their third is, just because of how powerful Raisable and CR is and just org buff. Boulevard is a C team. They have potential if they have a good third. Obviously, Delta Alres, veterans in the scene. They've been playing with repeat recently, which they've actually had some pretty decent results considering the fact that you know everybody doubts them. But yeah, with them with repeat, they did pretty well. But I think if they get a decent third, they have a chance. But as it stands, they're in C tier. Dignitas is an interesting one. The projected Dignitas roster is Evo, Arsenal, and Nali. And as much as I love Arsenal, I don't think that this roster would do that great. Like I could see them slipping into maybe one major, but if that. Nali obviously, if he finds the right team, he can be great. But um, Nali isn't really the superstar player. He's more of a fill. And yeah, I don't think that's really going to work out with this roster. And Evo especially has a hard time finding good teams because nobody likes him in the scene for obvious reasons. Kind of a douchebag, no offense, but yeah. FaZe Clan, Chrome was the only one contracted to FaZe Clan still. FaZe Clan obviously out of Rocket League. Sypical probably going to retire. I wouldn't be surprised. Had a horrible season last season individually. Super disappointing to see, but that's his own doing. So G2 Esports. Now, I wish we could talk about this team a little bit later in the video, but they're here. Uh, here's the thing, right? You have the three best players in NA: Beast Mode, Daniel, and First Killer. And when you have two of them with arguably one of the best third, second man players in North America, Atomic, he can fill in any team and instantly make them significantly better. Atomic. It's bound to be a successful team, and we saw that with the I don't know what tournament it was. I think it was the draw. Mystery Machines. They absolutely smoked everybody without even sweating, breaking a sweat. I think not by far, but I think there's reason to believe that they will be the best NA team as it stands right now. I think that's pretty reasonable. But yeah, especially with Sathu as a very experienced coach and knowledge and very very well-rounded team. But then you got Genji who comes along. All right, and Genji's a toss-up ish. I think they're more. It'll be interesting to see because First Killer obviously, like I said, like up there in the top three. You could switch around Daniel Beast Mode and First Killer in the top three any given day. But with apparently Jack, who has had some speculation around him recently on how if he fell off or not, which I mean I think he's still a great player, but and then Chronic obviously was bubble like 2 years ago and then proved himself last season, proved that he can play at the top. Definitely a potential for this team, potential to be the best NA team, a lot of potential, and I could see it happening. Fan of Genji, No bias, but I mean, just on paper they should be great. Hey, bro, man. Hey, bro, is an interesting one because a lot of people doubt them. All right, I'm gonna say that straight up. A lot of people don't think they gonna be doing. I mean, actually, I'm gonna take that back. A lot of people used to doubt them, but then they started coming in these tournaments, the draws, the bandits, and just started whooping motherfuckers up. You know what I'm saying? This team right here, hey bro, deserves an org. All right, and I think that they're gonna be a consistent top 12 in RLCS next season, and I firmly believe that. No bias shit. I might be good friends with Wavy and Creams, but no bias shit. All right, but that's a B team. I'm telling you, you're gonna do better than Dignitas. They're gonna do better. Luminosi's an interesting one. Reddle's obviously a very famous figure in the Rocket League scene. In terms of his Rocket League skill, I don't think he's been keeping up recently with the new. I wouldn't say play style, but the new generation of players. With the most recent events, Reddles and like he's been playing with a few other pros. Obviously, has been that serious, but they have been losing to teams that they should not be losing to, and I think it's a sign that it might be a little bit bumpy this next season. Magic Bear, great player. If they had Chicago as the third, I think Chicago still has what it takes to be at the top. It'll just be, I think Luminosity is a big maybe team. It's a big maybe. Rogreg and Kevpert, arguably, in my opinion, two of the best coaches in the scene. Kevpert, I mean, a little bit of bias, but I think he's one of the best coaches in the scene, super underrated. But I think if they really, really grind, they can be at the top. But for now, I can give them just A. I'm just giving them A. Just keeping them there. They're definitely a major contending team, though. I'll give you that. All right, now M80. M80 is a super interesting one because you have three former ones players, super mechanical demons, all on one team. On paper, this team should easily be top five, right? Always making majors on paper, and just in. I mean, it's more like popularity wise, but I mean, you get what I'm saying. You got AJ, Jorias, and Nas, and then Nick, who argue. I mean, I'm not a really big fan of his coaching, but he's still a good coach. I mean, he's proven it. But I mean, I think this is a team where they either do really really good or not so great, like C tier. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like they're going to do really great. I feel like you could even put them in S, depending on how they're. They could be one of those teams where it's like a slow start in the season, like they have a rough few first regionals, and then they just really start ramping it up and going crazy. But it's definitely a throw up. It'll be interesting to see. Whew, Muffin Man. This one, this one is very controversial. Controversial, you know what I'm saying? Type shit. Squishy, I hate to say it, he fell off. And this is no like I love Squishy. He was one of the best players in the world, and like one of the greatest of all time. But he has not been able, in my opinion, I'm not a coach, but he's not been able to adapt to the new players and play styles ever since Season X. After that, it's been rough for him. You can tell. Gimmick obviously not in his peak form. Probably won't be able to get to his peak form just because he's just old pro shit. You got to be really really talented to keep up when you're older pro, and he has not been able to do that. But Aqua, that's where it gets interesting because you got Aqua, who is a very young player still. Um, had one of the most overrated. Uh, he was like Daniel coming into the league, and then he just did not perform how you'd think. But the only reason I think is because he just didn't play the game enough. It was like a kind of like a miss situation, except he wasn't missed. It was Aqua. You know what I'm saying? He just didn't play the game. But I think Aqua has a lot of potential to be great if he puts in the work. But he's got to put in the work. But I just don't see this team like where it stands right now with all the other teams in NA. I don't see them. I see them getting close to making major, but I don't see them making major. Nefarious, Adam, Knight, Buddy. Obviously, Buddy went to subspot. Knight didn't really play last season with Adam. This is just a team where they could do good if it's actually Adam and Knight in a different third. Um, I could see them playing with like somebody like I don't really know, Tarako maybe. Oh, also Cheese, Andy, and Toasty. That's a team. That's a new Ghost roster. I'd probably put them in B, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, I don't not really much else to say about them. They're just a C team. NRG. NRG is going to be the biggest what if, or not if, what if, the biggest who knows. That's how I'll put it. The biggest who knows team for next season. You got Frosty, who doesn't really have any solid tournament results. Nobody really knows anything about him. Kind of just popped out of nowhere. He's played in tournaments, hasn't done great. Hey Bros beat them. And then you got also Mist, who's a possible option for the roster, who obviously last season struggled a lot, finding his rhythm, getting hours. And then you got Garrett G, who's a veteran. Really I think Garrett G still is what it takes to compete at the top. I just don't know if it's with these two. It'll be a big, big maybe team. We'll see. I don't know. I honestly don't. It's hard to speculate, but I mean they do have Fireburner, who's a great coach, but I can't justify putting them any higher than B for now, just because of looking at these Frosty and Miss. I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting. They could be great, but you really can't tell with no results. Shopify. I'm not really going to speak much on them because a lot of people have doubts in this roster, but personally, I think Two Piece and Parth are like the whole, like they're the embodiment, embodiment of the new meta and the new play style and the new generation of players. They've obviously been around for quite some time now, but I feel like the duo and themselves just need a third that they can learn and build with, and I think Justin is that exact player. I feel like Justin is willing and wants to learn how to adjust to this new play style and this new era of players, and I think that this trio can really do some damage. Obviously, a lot of people have doubts with Justin. They don't think he's great anymore, Wash, but I mean personally, I still think he's top 10 NA individually. I mean, obviously, they've proven themselves with the past couple off-season tournaments. They've wiped the floor. They've done really well. But I think this team can be really, really good, and it is going to be really good. I think there's a lot of doubters though, a lot of doubters, but I think it's all just gibberish. But obviously, again, this is all just opinion based. But I mean, the only thing that's like truly, I think, facts is nobody's going to be doubting this G2 team. I think everybody can agree that this team is insanely good. Space Station, we just learned, I think yesterday, that Arsenal is. There's like a 99% chance Arsenal is not going to be on Space Station. So I think that's actually better for SSG, LJ Hoxer, and wait. Oh yeah, also this Dignitas team. I think I already said, but it's Nali Arsenal. Yeah, whatever. But I think LJ and Hoxer are two super talented players, and if they find a good third, which I think there's plenty of players on here that could fit, none too game changing. I honestly, now that I look at this, I don't really know who would even take it. Maybe I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but um, yeah, SSG. I think they could be great. I think they're going to be, regardless of who the third is, just with LJ and Hoxer and Sad Jr., who I think is a really good coach. I think regardless of third, they do good. I think they're solid. They're a solid A tier team. Like they're going to be a consistent team regardless. Probably a major contending team every single split. So yeah, and now we get to Sub Partic and 0-1. I think both these teams are in the same exact boat where they have a lot of potential, but they're probably just going to be super average, super average teams. The team that I could see doing great is Line Blaze, Kinsey, and Zanil. But I mean, again, like there's just too many good NA teams that I feel like have the advantage over them in terms of major contending spots and regionals and stuff like that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys later.